where the treats at.
Is this the passing of the torch, right? Is this what this signifies?
It comes down to that front office and what they feel is most important.
The champ is here. We've touched down from a higher plane. Why you landed here?
We always look forward to that week because it was always intense.
You know that we ain't coming back. We about to.
The man, the myth, the legend, Dante Hall. My favorite player growing up was Dante Hall. I love you guys in the show, but Dante was my guy.
Get to dashing because you done on the warfield.
This episode of Chief Concerns is brought to you by BetOnline.AG. We're finally here. The top teams in college basketball have been determined, and the Final Four is set. Looking to wager on these games or the national championship? Head over to BetOnline.AG on your desktop or mobile device to sign up today and receive your 50% welcome bonus on your first deposit. Just use our promo code BELIEVE, that's BLEAV, to get started. BetOnline remains your number one spot for all updated odds and info, along with player props and new contests throughout the year. It's the best source for all your sporting wagering needs, including live betting and everyone's favorite Vegas casino and poker games. It's super easy to get started, so join today. Learn why everyone is saying BetOnline is the fastest and easiest way to wager on sports. BetOnline, where the game starts. Hey there, Marcus Dash here, co-host of Chief Concerns. At the conclusion of this episode, please make sure to like and subscribe to our podcast right here on YouTube. And for all you listeners out there, please be sure to give us a 5-star review on any of the platforms you use to listen to us. I want to thank you all for listening to us throughout the season, and we look forward to engaging with you all throughout the offseason. Enjoy the episode. Hey guys, welcome to Chief Concerns. I'm here with our host, former tight end Jason Dunn, and tonight we got a little fill-in for Eric. We got former linebacker Shawn Barber. Shawn, how you doing, buddy?
Man, blessed to be here. Always excited to get to chop it up with my man Jay Deasy, Jay Dunn, the Dungeon Master.
Yes, sir. What's up, my brother?
And be able to chop it up, obviously, Chiefs Concern. Let's do it, baby.
Let's do it. And anybody who's tuned into our show knows we usually, we go other topics before we get into Chief Concerns. We usually go with the hot topic. And I think pretty much this kind of been a beaten down topic this whole week since Sunday, but we'll touch on it a little bit. But I just kind of want to get you guys' opinion on what happened at the Oscars between Will Smith and Chris Rock. So everyone's got an opinion on it. There's somebody, everyone's talking about it. And I just kind of want to hear what you guys have to say about this. I know our subscribers would love to hear what you all have to say about it. So what's your opinion on this entire kind of this chaotic incident between the two guys?
Man, I mean, on a personal level, I think it was something that obviously was a mountain made out of a molehill. Started over with some jokes from back in 2016. It never got truly addressed. Some feelings got hurt and things just kept going. I mean, when I look at the video, man, I watch all aspects of it. I try to watch it from, the filter of both sides. The confusing part for me, just as a man, was there was a moment where Will Smith seems to be enjoying himself, like almost laughing along with the jokes until he recognizes that his wife feels hurt. And then his, the chivalry, the manhood in him jumps up to protect his wife's emotional state, her feelings and everything. And there is no, violence is never the answer. I know that there's some extreme reasons and there's some things you feel hurt and you feel like you got to lash out because whatever the reason, I am not a violence solves anything because it just leaves you looking shallow. It leaves you look like you didn't have the intelligence of finding the words to battle this man on the word to word, especially when it was coming from a aspect of a comedian. It was coming of an aspect of he's trying to find some humor in what things people are feeling sometimes hurt, alone, abandoned. Obviously, the condition, I probably pronounced it wrong, but alopecia.
Alopecia.
Something, yeah. That condition comes with some serious side effects that have caused her to have to shave her head and prevent herself from going bald and stuff like that. But prevent the patches from showing. I just think, man, for the listeners, I would say, imagine if it wasn't a black man slapping a black man. Imagine if it was a white man slapping a black man, or if it was a black man slapping a white man, or a white woman slapping a black. Like, if you change any of the racial or the gender dynamics of that, it gets real tricky. And it's a lot more than just, man, Will, what were you doing, man? Like why did you go there? But I do think that at that moment, Chris Rock showed himself to be the bigger man. He composed himself, went on with the show, didn't formally make any charges, came out with an apology directed to Will and Jada the next day, said he's going to grow and learn from the experience. So, I mean, sometimes you gotta dig deep and reach some real lows before you find some growth. And maybe in the long run they both find some growth in this opportunity. But yeah, I don't condone violence in any way.
Yeah, so I had to agree with Shop on this one for sure. I think the act of walking up and striking Chris Rock was absurd. Thought it was ridiculous. It was unnecessary, and it made him look like he was a trouble man, which I think he is. I think there's a deeper issue that's going on with Will, of course, with the pressure just for the night. But I think it stems away from like some of the things that happened with the red table, right? That some people that can like Shop kind of reference to 2016 and what Chris Rock said about Jada. And then, of course, the red table with, the whole how their family is portrayed in the media and whatnot. And so I think there's a deeper issue and hurt there with Will. But like you said, violence is not the answer. And I actually I thought it was tasteless. And I think Chris showing restraint in that moment not to hit Will back was important. But I'm not going to absolve Chris from what he said about Jada, and I don't think we can. But I don't think he understood what his condition. From what I understand, he didn't know what her condition was. But still, there's a fine line as far as like what comedians have to kind of walk, right? Are you being, a little bit too offensive with people's personal business and what they say, right? I think that's part of what you have to engage, especially on stage with the audience. And so we know jokes are going to be thrown at the Oscars and all these award shows, but nobody likes to be the butt of the jokes in nobody's expense. I think if Will had actually stood up and told Chris, and I think Will missed the moment to say, hey, listen, keep my wife's name out of your mouth. She's dealing with this right here. He could have brought awareness to it. It could have been, a number of things he could have done differently, right? But in the moment, I think it was just, it was impulsive. It was an impulsive move that was more emotional than anything else, right? And so when you kind of see the interaction, him walking up, striking Chris is like, wait a minute, what just happened? Him walking back. I get the chivalry part, right? He wants to protect his wife. But like you said, Chop, look, she wasn't threatened physically in anything. What was said, he could have, at least brought him behind stage or addressed him right then. I think it could have been, kind of tamed and went on about, right? It would have been everybody I think would understand, like, yeah, she's dealing with, alopecia, right? Has some respect and concern about that. And I think he just missed a moment. I think he was just caught up in it. And so made him look bad. I like Chris coming out immediately saying, hey, look, I understand my part in this. And when I apologize for what I said, and I shouldn't have said, I should have known this. And I understand that, as a comedian, I had to kind of walk this fine line. I think Will's apology kind of came late to me. It just personally, it kind of fell on deaf ears. And it's going to take me some time to kind of like, hey, man. But I understand there's a struggle there. I think we all see it. So trying to afford people grace in these moments, I think what we all need to do. I heard people refer to Will as a thug and all of these different things and whatnot. And I don't necessarily agree with that. But sometimes your character, sometimes it shows in those moments, shows the weakness that you have, that all of us have, right? And so he's no different. And that's the thing. I think that's part of the problem. Part of the problem is where we put people on pedestals because of what they do, that we kind of absolved them from some of the blame. And I think when people stood up when he got the Oscar, which he should have gotten that. But I think it was kind of sullied with what he did. But that's pretty much what I'm going to say, man. But I think hopefully they'll be able to hash this together. I think they need to do something where they're coming together more than just once in a statement. I think they need to be seen together, hugging and coming to grips and reconciliation. I think it's going to be better, just optics, as opposed to just putting out a statement. I don't like certain statements. I just don't like. I think it's, publicist just writing it and then, hey, you know what? I'm going to leave it alone. And I don't think you shouldn't do that. As men, we should have this conversation where we should be able to talk. And the thing is, they was friends. They know each other. And I don't believe Will would have went up and did it to anybody else other than maybe Chris, because I didn't think Chris was going to react in the way that he did. And he was right. So.
Yeah, the two, I believe Chris Rock starts a stand-up comedy tour tonight in Cleveland, Ohio. Apparently the ticket prices went from like $40 starting to like $400. So he might have some jokes in there from what happened on Sunday. And then the Academy is apparently looking into punishing Will Smith. Reports came out a little while ago that said that they actually asked him to leave after he had thrown that punch. And he said, no, I'm not leaving. And then he ended up getting the award about half an hour later. So yeah, I don't know what's going to happen with that, but this is something I wanted to get you guys to comment on just because everyone and their mother is talking about this one. So I just wanted to get you guys.
Well, Marcus, I can tell you one thing to the listeners. And I learned this after playing. So I know people say, well, how can you two football players talking about don't react in violence when that's all y'all do? It's a purpose. What we did on that field between those white lines, it's not to be taken outside of that venue. But the way I reach my kids and what I teach my kids is there's a method. If you consider yourselves a star, you want to be able to shine, it's a star method. Stop, think, anticipate, and then respond. Don't react. Don't let life pitch curveballs at you and have you all out front of it looking silly. So just stop for a moment. Think about what happened. Anticipate what are some of the reactions and responses and consequences to your actions. And then respond to life. But don't just react to it. Your natural reaction is most of the time going to be wrong. But just take time to think about it, process it, and make sure you come with the response that's really in your best interest. So that STAR method is what I've been trying to teach young kids.
That's a great lesson right there.
Very wonderful.
And I think in general, whether you play football or not, that's a good takeaway and lesson to take home with you, no matter what you do, really.
Yeah. Well, the reality is, you know how many times we get challenged out there, and how many times we really want to just, really, it takes restraint. Because sometimes, man, you just want to, ball a joker up. What you say? And, I agree with you, Shot. So believe me, I've restrained myself plenty of times. Now,
JD, are we going to tell them what the security guy for the Philadelphia used to tell us?
What's that?
So I got to Philadelphia. My first year there was in 02.
Oh, Butchie. You talking about Butchie? Yeah.
Butchie. So before every year, Butchie has a meeting with all the players. He's all right, man. This is your security briefing for the year. When you're in the clubs in Philadelphia, and it's gonna be this little guy about 5 foot who wants to show off to his girlfriend, and he looking at you across the bar saying, "Hey, I'm gonna go punch this football player. I'm gonna go pick a fight with this guy because I love you, girl." He said, when that guy come over there and he all drunk and he poking you in the chest and he trying to tell y'all lost the game, you cost the money. He said, I want you to find the camera. He said, every club is a camera behind the bar. Find the camera, you look up in the camera and say, I don't want to fight. I don't want to fight. I don't have a problem. And he says, after your third step back, you cock back and you give it everything you got to knock him cold out. Knock him out. One punch, that's all you get. And then you walk away. He says, because as long as you got it on camera, that you didn't want to fight, and they see that the guy's provoking you, you got one punch. He said, you better lay him out, though.
Did that ever come to fruition? Was there any stories that happened? Like, did anything ever happen like that in Philly?
Oh, yeah.
I'm sure guys, I'm sure guys are like, well, I'm sorry. I'm human. I had to let it go then, I can only take so much. And look, everybody's got a breaking point, right? We don't quite know what everybody's going on in their life, but I would err on the side, of course, of not doing anything. But I look, My dad always told me, my parents, look, you fine. Don't let somebody touch you.
That's it.
That's it.
Right.
That's it. You can say all you want. You can talk all you want.
Yeah.
The second you make contact with me, it's on. That's it. Like that's it. That's the way you violated you're now touching my character, my integrity. All these things coming to a pattern now like this. I feel threatened. I don't know what you got. I don't know if you're carrying something. So I got to end this. I got to end it so that none of us get hurt for real. Because you might got a knife, a gun, or something. So once you touch me, I got to find the fastest way to end the resolution to this altercation. Might be me hitting you and you hitting the flow.
Right. As my oldest brother used to always say, he said, man, I'm going to give you the worst 30 seconds of your life. I'm like, golly.
Man, hey, man, JD, we some God-fearing folks, though, man. We patient.
Yes, sir. Yes,
listen,
yes, we are.
I don't wish no bad or no harm on nobody.
No.
You ain't going to mess with mine. Like,
right.
You better just, when you see if somebody last name Barber, you better just let that one ride. You better just go ahead and find another person because this ain't the one. This ain't the family you want to come picking and prodding, proving your worth, messing with one of these Barber kids. So
that's right.
Well, it just goes to show you that how much restraint Chris Rock had in that moment on TV. Getting hit in the face in front of millions, tens of millions of people. I mean, that's. And there was the one moment where there's like a still of him. You could see he like kind of like cocks his he kind of clenches up his fist and he does this, but then he kind of like backs off. And then before he moves on to the next category, he goes, "I could," and we're like,
ooh, "Yeah, right." He's like, "Ooh,
I could." I thought he was gonna go into a roast mode. He probably could. He probably has so much material.
That's true. He kind of balled his fist for a second, like he might have really retaliated, swing back. Yeah, he might be 150 pounds, and he, like I said, he might have swung on wheel, but at least he's there, man. But yeah, we don't condone the violence, man. We want people to come in together, man, and have a conversation and talk, and be bigger people. That's what we want, right?
Yeah. Oh, amen. All right, well, enough of the Will Smith talk. I know our viewers probably, have heard so much of that this week, but we had to get you guys to talk about this. But all right, so going to the Chiefs. So last week, our first topic tonight, it was kind of it was a big week. We traded Tyreek Hill for 5 picks, but we ended up getting some guys after the show. So we had a Tyreek Hill topic last week, and then we ended up getting the next day we got Marquez Valdez-Scantling, MVS. And then a couple days later, we ended up getting Ronald Jones, a.k.a. RoJo, to be in the running back room. So with these 2 pickups that we had, I kind of had to get your guys' opinion on this. So what do you guys think of bringing in big body and fast receiver and MVS and then bringing in Ronald Jones to the running back room? What do you guys think about these 2 additions to the offense?
JD, you the offensive guy, so I'm going to go ahead and give you the honors.
All right. So, you know what? I think I was a little suspect on the move in itself. And my sentiment was you had to get the right guy here. Okay. And where we was looking before Tyreek had left, you're a number 2 receiver. And so when Tyreek leaves, which leaves a tremendous void, you just can't replace a guy like that, what he can do. We go get MVS, and he's a speed guy. No doubt about it. He's got burners. That's one thing he can do. He can absolutely stretch the defense, and he's fast and he's lanky. So he'll give us that element of the game. To me, when you look at his production over the years up there in Green Bay, it doesn't warrant maybe like a number 1 receiver. And I think that's the reason why we're still looking at, further guys. We're still, looking at maybe even the draft or even now talking about getting a number 1 receiver here, because I think MVS has a skill set and he'll do that incredibly well, right, with the speed. But we've had this conversation kind of off the podcast, talking about his hands. How reliable is his hands? Is the reason why he wasn't getting a lot of the catches and maybe some of the targets is because maybe Aaron Rodgers wasn't as confident in his hands as people thought he was. And I just, from me watching him over the years since he's been there, I've seen some bad drops by him. Some wide open drops by this guy, some deep ones. And I'm not saying that he doesn't have good hands. I'm just saying, to me, that was kind of a cause for concern. maybe in this offense, when you go from Aaron Rodgers to now Patrick Mahomes, which are arguably the two best quarterbacks played during this time, that now where you don't have a Devontae Adams, he'll start getting a little bit more looks, right? And maybe he can, showcase a little bit more of his talent. And I'm all here for it. I'm here. Hey, man, you know what? You came here, you signed the deal. I'm on your team right now. That's how it works with me. And so I wish him the best. I hope he comes in, and I hope he just absolutely lights it up. I hope he lights it up. Because I'll come on here and say, hey, man, look, part of my reluctance on when I thought about this guy was just that, from what I seen up in Green Bay, and I think in the order of things, how they ran their offense, he was kind of more like the third or fourth option, at least to me, he was. So I think right now it was a good move as far as like what we had to do. Like I said, I think we want to do more. But welcome to Kansas City, MVS. I think he's going to fit in well with what Andy wants for him, because Andy's always looking for fast guys, and so he'll definitely they'll utilize him the way that Bieniemy and all those guys can get him going. So I'm all here for it, man. I'm all here for it.
I think he has the ability to take the top off of defense. That's going to just open things again for Kelsey. He commands so much attention in the middle of the field, and when you got somebody streaking down that middle third or down the sideline, just drifting and pulling the attention from these safeties. We know how much we've seen the too high shell here in Kansas City. That's been the way people have dropped 8 in the coverage to try to cover us. But when you have deep threats, you don't have Nicole going deep, you have MVS going deep. Both of those guys will be able to demand, 2-3 eyes, 2-3 pairs of eyes on them. And then you got Kelsey demanding the middle of the field between the hashes, and then allowing Juju to be Juju. And so I love the signing of MVS because I think it allows Juju to know he's coming here and not having to try to replace all of those dynamic things that Cheetah did. Now he knows he can come in and be almost a accessory to Kelsey, just in a wide receiver form. Juju in the slot, 25 years old. If he was doing what he was doing with Ben Roethlisberger, imagine when those passes are within stride or on stride, what he'll be able to do it after the catch. So, and then we talk, you call it RoJo. I'm not going to be able to call the man RoJo. That sounds too much like FloJo. I'm an old head. So Florence joined it. That was the lady back in the day with the long nails and all that.
Yes, sir.
Run down that track.
Yes, sir.
But I heard him coming to town. It was almost a no-brainer once you found out that him and Pat had the same agent. That was kind of the deal closer. Obviously, any running back coming out the backfield, knowing that as far as what we needed here in Kansas City was somebody that can move the chains, a first and down threat. Being able to get behind. We signed the fullback, and so he's going to have a nice big number 45 in front of him to lead runs. But the one thing he didn't have to do a lot in Tampa Bay was catch the ball. And so keeping CEH here to be able to be a third down back option, taking some of that wear and tear off CEH to make him fresher, be able to last throughout the whole season. But that was the one thing at LSU most people knew about Clyde. It was hilarious that he was always a dual threat back. It was multiple backs always there his whole time at LSU. So it was that when he gets to the league, would he be able to take the full load? And he's been bit by the injury bug both years. So I now you take some of that first and second down load off him, let RoJo or Ronald Jones take care of those first primary downs, and then let Clyde get in there for that third down package. I think that everybody gets a little bit more explosive. Losing Cheetah, man, that's going to be a major loss. But I think there is a little bit of addition by subtraction. I think when you have a weapon like Cheetah, it's almost it would be stupid not to use them. It's almost unintelligent not to design almost 20 touches for this guy to get the ball. And so when you take that out, and now you look at a defense, now who you gonna cover? Now who you gonna guard? You single up Juju. I think he's still a dominant receiver, be able to beat anybody in the slot. You got to put something more than just a safety or linebacker on Kelsey. And then Clyde Allaire has shown when he's out in the flat, out in space, you don't really want to have a linebacker one-on-one against him. And then we haven't even talked about Miko. Miko ended up the season, last few games in the playoffs, really coming into his own. And so I think if they can expand on that Miko Hardman package, sprinkling enough, first down catches by Juju and Kelsey, and then in the red zone, I think everybody comes alive for the Chiefs. I don't think our offense, when it comes to points per game, are going to take as far back a jump as most people think.
I'll tell you what, and Sean, what I'm hearing is, I think what we have to kind of embrace, man, is wrapping our head around that this offense is going to look different, right? It's going to look a lot different what it has been with Cheetah's presence being gone, right? And what I've seen, just kind of looking over this past week and a half of the throws that Patrick was able to, extend with his legs, that the guy that he was looking for, because he knew it was going to be open, was Cheetah. He knew he could throw that ball deep, and Cheetah, because Cheetah knew what area he was going to be in and whatnot, was able to burn a lot of defenses up. And so I think now, because we have a kind of restructured line, O-line, it's a lot better what it has been in the past few years, that now, where you said they're not necessarily running that too high shell, you're not necessarily going to be traditional. You're still going to stretch the defense horizontally. The thing is, our defenses, and maybe you could answer this, our defenses feeling that this offense is going to be as dangerous as it used to be, right? And look, I get, you can still get, significant yards, right? Mm-hmm. The thing is, do the significant yards still come in the passing game like it used to? Or I think the addition with Ronald Jones coming in, you have to say, hey, look, we brought this guy in for a reason. So now we have to lean up on the running game a little bit more than what we had to. But I'm going to ask you, from your perspective as a defensive guy, what do you feel like now, since that deep threat, too high shell, that a guy that came in could do everything as far as speed-wise, skill-wise, just make everybody look silly? I'm talking about the best athletes in the world, look like they was running in the quicksand. What now would you say defensively, how would you necessarily play the Chiefs?
Man, I've always thought it was very hard to play the Chiefs because, first of all, Pat Mahomes has a scramble ability. It's always just untapped. When he started, even open up the game against the Buffalo Bills in the playoffs, it wasn't the arm, it wasn't our running game. It was Patrick Mahomes scrambling the ball for that first drive to kind of match the intensity that Buffalo was. They was going back and forth, blow for blow. But throughout the entire game, the one facet that the Buffalo defense could never figure out was Patrick's legs. And that goes back to the year before with the Tennessee Titans game for that scramble that led to that touchdown. So every playoff run, every postseason run, it always ends up coming down to Pat Mahomes using his legs to try to force a defense out of what they have planned on doing against us, as far as keeping us from challenging them vertical down the field, to take advantage of when they drop 8. Now, the unique things defenses started to do, and you talk about Cincinnati specifically, is instead of just dropping 8 and allowing guys to come full bore at Pat, it was almost like a catch and react with the other 3. No one came full speed. It was almost like, we're okay you spending 5, 10, however long it takes you to sit in that pocket, but we're just not going to give you anywhere to throw it, and we're just going to wait until one of these defensive players seep in, and then we got a guy playing a little spy who's going to come and try to clean you up. Yep. And that seemed to be the defense they played the majority of the second half. It just continuously caused us problems, forced some turnovers, and it's left a lot of questions because it's such a unique type defense. You don't see it that often. Going back to what we've done now, we're taking out that amazing vertical pressure that we've been able to give defenses all this time. It should make defenses resort back to more traditional style defenses. And I think that's going to actually be a breath of fresh air for our offensive staff to see, the normal sets, the normal things you prepare for all season long, and not to see this unicorn style defense every time you playing, because everybody is so in fear of this vertical threat called the cheetah. So I think things will come back as far as what defense we face for the Chiefs. Like I said, I think the one thing you're going to see in our offense, I think the scoring is going to be a tad bit less, but I think our time of possession, first downs, those are some of the statistics I think that's going to go up this year, and it's going to lead us to a greater margin of victory. When you talk about game by game, when is the game kind of in hand, up by 17, up by 14 with 10 minutes left. I think you're going to find us in those type of scenarios more often because we're not going to have to rely on that deep ball, big play moment as much. And like you said, cut down on the scoring a little bit, but I think we'll be in control of games more often than that.
See, and I think with that, and Marcus, you chime in on it, but when you look at kind of how in the past few years, that was what the Chiefs was offensively can do. They can strike fast and quick, right? Mm-hmm. So now that element is gone. So now it's kind of hey, wait a minute, hold on. We do have to have more consistent drive phase and not make turnovers. It don't have to be the silly plays, and we have to get first downs here. And then, like you said, playing that traditional defense, because I'm just looking at it, man. If like let's just say Cheetah was here and we had the move, we wanted to keep him here, the money, he everything works out that way. Even if you bring in a guy like Ronald Jones in, right, where you still defense still had to change, play the two shell. Yeah. Ronald Jones will still eat him up in the run game. Now you have the element like, look, now we're really stretching you out, okay? Because we have a guy. I'm not saying the CH is not capable, but now you have a guy that you can definitely change your pace, can run between the tackles a little bit. More of a bruiser, tougher runner. You know what I mean? He has that about him. And so when I'm thinking, if we get behind in the game, everybody's gonna be looking, okay, where's Cheetah at? So is McCoy, is he gonna be the guy that now all of a sudden it's gonna be a quick strike? Is he gonna still be that guy? Kelsey's still gonna rule the middle regardless of what that's not gonna, I don't think anything is gonna affect what Kelsey's production is gonna be at all, right? I mean, he's still gonna be the dominant force he is. But when we're looking at certain scenarios where you may be behind, okay, now we're down, because when you were down 14 points or something, it wasn't anything. They just look at each other like, okay, yeah, that's nothing. Boom, Cheetah, touchdown, right? We back in the game. I was like, oh, shoot, that was easy. Mm-hmm. Now, it may not necessarily be that easy. I get sustaining drives, but kind of in my head, we're still looking like, okay, are these guys still going to be able to do it? Which I think we do. I think we got a great cast. Like you said, Juju is going to come, on his own. He's going to do a great job. Harmon's going to do a good job. MVS is going to do a good job. Gordon, my God, I said, Gordon's, he's in the room. So I think those things do help. I just think we just got to wrap our head around, because these things going to look a little bit different. Ain't what we've seen in these past few years, right? It's like, oh, man, that's So I guarantee in every situation, somebody will like, well, I wish we had Cheetah. Shoot, Tyreek can get that one. I bet Tyreek can get that one on, so.
Well, I think, but also you got to look at it from a financial standpoint. If you tell me, hey, man, do we want Cheetah for $30 million this year, or do we want MVS and Juju for combined 13? Be able to go out and have money to pay for Ronald Jones as a starting running back, and have enough money to probably re-sign Melvin Ingram at the $7-8 million. You want those 4 players, or do you want Cheetah at $30 million? Yeah. I think just from a football mind, I think we understand that, like, you can't invest so much in a player that if that player twists an ankle, pull a hamstring, get a soft, like that, man, you can't have $30 million sitting on your bench. You can't have $30 million in the locker room with cramps. For that kind of price tag, if that guy is not on the field, think about what kind of resources you got left to go throughout the rest of the team. It's kind of like you playing the game with one arm behind your back if he's not on the field. And so I just think when you think about how much resources that one player soaks up and how that can be spread to improve so many different factors of your squad, not only on offense, but on the defense side of the ball, we understand there's multiple phases of this game. And you can try to go out there and just keep bringing up the scoreboard. But I mean, sometimes you got to have that defense that has the capability of getting to that quarterback, stopping the run, making some plays in that secondary. So I think like we said, the addition from subtraction, yeah, we subtract Cheetah, but the additions we're able to make to this team with that $30 million, I think are going to outweigh what he produced and what he provided on the field as far as the offense.
It's a great point, because you could get the Bugatti, or you want, a couple of Porsches and, Lamborghinis, some things here. So go longer with your money. And that's a great point on looking at it. The thing is, hopefully it comes to fruition, right? Sounds great. Sounds good on paper. So it's like, hey, we got all of this. Now it's all about, producing, that fruit, right? It's got to happen.
And you got to go back to work, man. Listen, there's a comfort level. You got Kelsey, you got Cheetah, you got Pat. You can't tell me that rest of that offense always goes to training camp with that edge. How am I going to get better? Because all right, those three players are going to pretty much be 50 to 60% of our offense. And the rest of us are going to do what? We're going to split up 10 targets at the most.
Right.
Some carries. So now without that Cheetah factor, I think it does bring that edge back to the training camp. Like you said, that excitement of, all right, now how are we going to redefine ourselves? What is the energy about this team going to be? Now we got the capability of running downhill. We had this young offensive line, all rookies. Now they proved that they like to motor-grade a little bit. They like to get after. They like to get a little bit, they like to get dirty a little bit. So I like what I'm seeing from Trey Smith. All right, he plays with that little nasty edge and stuff. Oh yeah. Creed. Those guys, they're not out there playing like no timid rookies.
Right.
They playing at a high level. And so if you can put the ball behind those guys and move the chains a little bit, get Kelsey, hey man, listen, man, Father Time is undefeated. You got to give us one more good one, bro. You got to somehow give us one more good one. Just keep taking that Hall of Fame resume and add another season to it. Mm-hmm. And then let these young guys just grow up and share that, and Andy does a great job of sharing the wealth. Everybody knows his offense is let's just turn the page. We got a Kelsey page, then we got a Tyreek Hill. No more, we ripped that one out. We got a Nico Hardman page. Now we got a Clyde Allaire page and a RoJo page, MVS page. So we got this different phases of this offense, and he's been a mastermind almost over the last few seasons of finding out, depending on what you do defensively, how you make adjustments to their shifts and motions of which phase of that offense he needs to dial up. And so I just got so much belief in what Andy does on the offensive side of the ball. And then the beautiful thing about the Chiefs, we still talking about the offense. Who did they lose on their offensive staff? They gained Nagy back.
Yeah, they got Nagy.
They still got Andy Hack. They still got G. Lou. They still got B. Enemy. Mm-hmm. So, that's the one part of this team that no one ever it goes untouched for season after season after season. And that's, to me, one of the keys of victory as far as this team is concerned, why they stay so prepared and so ready. Because everybody else is getting accustomed to a coach for the first half of the season.
Right.
Not the Chiefs. They've been hearing that same voice and that headset. So now we did lose he went to the Giants, the quarterback coach.
Kafka.
Yeah, we lost him.
Yeah. But you got Nagy though.
Yeah, getting that. I kind of think that's a win. I think that's a win right there. Right. So I don't know. Offensively, I think, like I said, I think at the end of the day, the offense is going to be just fine. By the time week one come, and it might even actually be stronger at the end of the year.
Yeah. It's a good point what you said. It's going to be an exciting in a different kind of way. Last year was exciting, or the past years have been exciting because, 3-play drives, bomb the Tyreek, just stuff like that. It's going to be exciting, and to see how it changes compared to what we're used to. And I know last year, JD, on the show, you mentioned it multiple times, and watching games, it's like a lot of our play calling didn't make any sense. We were doing play actions when we would go drives without running the ball. I think now we're going to have the running back to run the ball with, and then we can do that play action game will open up again. So, stuff like that's going to happen again. We haven't really seen that work in a really long time. So that'll be fun to see again.
It drove me and JD crazy seeing somebody run an RPO without running. Like, what do we do? This RPO, but you got to run it sometimes. You don't ever run it. It's all, like they just playing pass. Nobody respecting that run.
None. Yeah, no threat. Zero.
No threat.
And you guys think day one, because Andy Reid said this week that he said Ronald Jones will play a major role in our offense. You guys think he's going to be a starting running back? And then CH will be the third down back?
I think they make it work. I think, bringing him in, you have conversations with CEH and saying, look, man, this is kind of the direction we're going, right? And competition is good. And so, look, whoever's out there eating right now who's doing well is going to get, is going to run the rock. But, the thing is, both of you guys got to be able to carry the load. And so CH is going to have, like Shop said, look, he catches the ball well out the backfield. He really does. And so Ronald Jones could be the one in between the tackles. And like I said, man, I played back in the day when you had the, thunder and lightning. And when you have something like element like that throwing it to defenses, it's like, okay, well, this guy's going to catch the football. Well, no, now all of a sudden you hand it off to CH, right? That's what you do. And so hopefully, when you have that type of diversity, those guys like Shaw was just talking about, everybody, I'm just seeing them right now, just in the offensive room, just having a ball. These jokers are putting everything on board. Man, we got this, we can do this now. And so that's going to be a good thing. That's a great problem to have. But I think CEH understanding, look, this thing right here is about business. And right now, if anything, I can't go in the tank. I got to let this motivate me. I got to come out here and show what I can do. I got to be on the field. So Ronald, when he comes in, just support each other. And I think with Bieniemy being that guy, who understands playing the NFL, like, look, man, this is all part of business. We trying to win. We ain't trying to placate to everybody's emotions on these things. Ain't what it's about. We did that. We kept cheating here, right? So we ain't doing that. So I think with that dynamic, CH is going to understand. He will. He's a young guy, so he'll get it. He'll get it.
Yeah, it's nothing I've ever seen from Clyde Hilaire that makes me feel like he's somebody that gets his, feelings hurt and gets an emotional. Like, he's a ball player. He's a dog. He comes out and works hard. I think that's why everybody in the locker room loves him. I mean, I think he sees, RoJo coming in and kind of replacing, maybe, the Darrell Williams role. And the Chiefs never had a first and second down only back. They never had just a third down back like a lot of offenses had. I mean, you played a series. You played 2 series. When you stay in. When you run a long route or you run a long run and get tackled, the other guy comes in, tags you out, and then he goes as hard as he can until he gets tired. So it's never been that traditional only first, only second down back, and then every third down, another guy comes in as a package. I never saw this offense run that way, even when they had Hunt, and those guys, it wasn't run that way. So I think both of the guys, you learn everything. You learn the package, you learn the protection. You always got to protect. You know that you ain't going to touch the field if you don't know how to protect Pat.
Sir,
so if you don't know the protection, that you will be on the bench that way. But as long as you run hard, ball security, that's something, here in Kansas City. Ball security from the running backs is important. And then you just got to stay true and be a hard, tough-nosed runner when the ball's in your hand. So I think EB respects that, and that's how you earn your playing time.
Yeah, and I think going forward, there was a report a couple days ago saying the Chiefs are contacting teams about some of their top receivers in an offense. Everyone jumps to the number one receivers in all these teams, but the report was top receivers. So that could be any receiver on any team. So that's the report right now. I think the betting odds on us getting DK Metcalf went up big time today. I don't know. There was a tweet last week from DK Metcalf saying he wasn't coming. Because someone said a fan tweeted at him saying the door's open for you in Kansas City. He said, you better shut it. I hear it gets pretty cold there. That's what he said.
Listen, I'm a politic, okay? Again, all right? Get that guy on the other side, the one that's been raised here in Kansas City, all right? As far as it works, business-wise, it works, right? Now, he's already signed that deal. So if you give him a couple of draft picks for a proven guy who's got the speed, who can run, who can catch, who can do all those things, Tyler Lockett will be a fit here. Can you imagine that? I mean, that's how I look at it. So I'm a politic for that, as opposed to decaf, DK, So I said decaf. Well, maybe. But
I'm gonna second that emotion. I'm gonna second that. Listen, man, we know we were listening. I'm a close friend of Kevin Lockett's. We both are. His son is amazing, man. He's not only just a great football player, but a hell of a man in the community.
yes, sir.
A great Christian brother, man.
Mm-hmm.
He's done everything right off the field.
Yep.
Work hard, and he's shown, every day he's been there in Seattle that he's about one thing. He's about working hard and taking care of his business. So you can't knock that. Never a showboat. Never putting the spotlight on himself. Not ever making any kind of public decrees about how many times he touched the ball or the ball not coming his way or pounding on his chest. Man, he goes out there and runs crisp routes, whether he's open or not. He runs his routes.
Yes. Right.
Like somebody gonna see me. They'll see me. Well, you throw it my way or not, I'm gonna run this route and I'm gonna embarrass this guy.
Mm-hmm.
And I can joke with him a little bit, like, "Hey man, I was open. You ain't come me yet all day. They might not have thrown it to me, but you ain't covered me all day. There's not many DBs that can cover him for a duration of the game. So yeah, that would be a great addition. If we want to keep it personal, it's actually one of the sons of one of our friends.
Yes.
And he's under contract till 2026, so I think that's a perfect move for us. So, Veach, if you're watching this, let's bring Tyler Lockett. Do what you got to do to get him. We have 12 draft picks. You're not going to use all 12 draft picks. Let's send a couple over to Seattle's way for Tyler.
Yes.
All right. Okay, now we're going to go to the next topic, which is defense, which a lot of people said that the Tyreek Hill move was made. We talk about bringing in other things, having multiple Porsches instead of, one Ferrari. So right now, the Chiefs have been in talks, reportedly in talks of Stephon Gilmore, cornerback for the Panthers, played for the Patriots. He's currently a free agent, and as well as Giants cornerback James Bradberry, who the Giants are trying to ship off right now. Reports are right now that we are trying to work with them on bringing down his cap number and also trying to figure out what kind of pick to send over to the Giants to bring in Bradberry. So that's the big key right now. A lot of chief accounts, insider accounts, as they said that deal was supposed to be done yesterday. Obviously, nothing's come through yet. So that's still out there. So it's between Gilmore and Bradberry. And then also another underrated signing, which a lot of people weren't talking about last week, amidst, MVS and the Tyreek Hill deal, was bringing in Jermaine Carter Jr., linebacker from Carolina. Played college ball at Maryland. He's a DMV product. So we love naturally.
Yes, sir. DMV, baby.
We love the DMV guys around here. So that's a big deal. We lost Hitchens, we lost Neiman. We bring in Jermaine Carter. He's coming off a career year. He had 88 tackles last year. So we brought him in on a 1-year deal. So, Shawn, I'm going to ask you, what do you make of us looking at Gilmore and Bradberry and us bringing in Jermaine Carter to fill the other linebacker role?
With all veteran corners, I think you got to look at them. And to me, I look at them not with the hopes of signing them. I look at them just so I know in case I have to face them, I want to know what they got left in the tank. It's more so me being aware of my enemies and using this offseason as a true tool of evaluating everybody we might see. I like what our defense looks like with veteran safeties and young corners. And I say veteran safeties, I know Juan Thornhill isn't the oldest safety, but coming out of UVA, he's definitely matured well, and he showed to be a high-level playmaker. I'm pairing him up with Reed, bringing that young man from Carolina. Reed he's a special cat, dog. Like, I'm talking about intellectually, he is he might be one of the smartest guys I've met off the field. And he's all about his business. And so I don't think he's going to have any problems learning Spags defense, knowing all the nuances. Even as a first-year guy in that defense, I think he'll know how to get everybody lined and assigned in the right place. For that third safety spot, I still think we can wait in the draft. There's a young man from Michigan, Nix. I'm hoping he'll still be around and pick 29 or so. This guy, man, from an athleticism standpoint, jumps off the board. But I do think that we're going to use most of our draft capital to find an edge rusher. So whether we take another Michigan guy who got hurt, Jobo, he's going to slide down because of his injury. Whether you go with edge rusher I got an edge rusher, Jackson out of USC, or another one, Sanders out of Cincy. I think all those guys will be available second round as picks. But there's a dark horse guy I got, Alex Wright out of UAB. I think that he played in a conference that maybe doesn't get all the clout as the SEC and some of these other conferences, the ACC and stuff. But man, this guy, I mean, he looks all the part to me. He looks like he posted went to Georgia. He looked like he was one of these. Georgia got these 3 freak athletes that coming on that D line. Man, Alex looked like he could fit in right with these guys. And so I think he's gonna have a tremendous upside. Somebody gonna get a steal of a pick, second, third round with this young man. I think he can touch the field right away and kind of fit that a human Euro role in Spags defense. So I'm very eager to see what we do in the draft as far as edge rusher. But you talk about Jermaine Carter Jr. coming from Friendship High School. I had actually his school classmate of mine at University of Richmond, a running back named Manoso Rogers. Actually, was one of his coaches down at Friendship High School in Maryland. He said the young man is just a workaholic, man. He hasn't been given anything in life, works for everything he's ever achieved. And I think this is just another opportunity for him to, he's on a prove-it year, right? Prove-it contract, a 1-year deal. Hey, man, go out there and showcase. He's going to have to, with Spags, we do things with, we take out our 2 starting linebackers, and we used to put Neiman in there to be a kind of a dime package. I think we called it a 4-6-1 package. 4 D linemen, 6 DBs, and 1 linebacker. So I think this young man comes in, if he can show that sideline to sideline, that pass progression, and be able to decipher screens and know how to stay underneath coverage, maybe be a spy when necessary. I think he can fit that role. He shows he's a phenomenal special teamer. So I think he's coming here with a niche, a little chip on his shoulder, and can light it up, man, here in Kansas City. Spags got a very aggressive defense. I don't think for any that's not a surprise to everybody. We're always one of the top as far as blitz and pressure packages. We believe in a lot of man coverage. I think we always try to pick out some young guys in that second and third day that have these physical skills to jump off the table. Some cornerbacks, some DBs that just are physical freaks as far as mirror technique, foot speed. Maybe for whatever reason they fall down because of off the field stuff, or they're in the wrong division, the wrong conference. Man, I guess when you get to the league, don't nobody care where you went to school. University of Richmond product, Eastern Kentucky product.
Right.
Don't know when you get on that field, man. That them white lines don't care. That grass, that don't care where you went to school at.
Right.
So you got to eat up that grass just like everybody else to get that guy down.
Yeah.
You got to be able to mirror, run, make a ball, high point, intercept, things you ask from a cornerback to do. It don't matter what college you went to no more. And so I think that's what Brett Beach has shown a talent for finding some young guys like the Jarius Sneed, like Fenton, James Madison product. So again, I think that's kind of where this defense is headed. I think we're gonna get a lot younger. I think we'll get a lot faster, be ultra aggressive. But I think we might be just kicking the tires on some of these veteran cornerbacks like Gilmore and Bradberry.
You know what? I'm looking at, man, look, we know what Gilmore can do, and because of the injury, we had to look at, his age, right? How's he going to be able to, to kind of come back? Is he going to be able to sustain, the type of production that you want from that guy over the years? Bradberry makes a little bit more sense because he's younger. We know that he's a Pro Bowl guy. He might be able to make a deal. We have a little bit more kind of a relationship because Catholic is up there in New York, and then how these things work, kind of getting in like, what do you think? How's this guy really look? What can we do to kind of help ourselves out? And so, I like Bradberry. I think he could come in, man, and absolutely be a force. And I think a guy who without a doubt is becoming a young star would help out our defense tremendously. Like you said, Reed being in the backside of it. It definitely brings in, the presence, like you said, with his intelligence, football IQ on the field, plus his physical presence is going to be major. And I think it's something that, we've been looking for, especially something more consistent. And I know people over the past, people's been looking at that like, hey, that might be somewhat of a Achilles heel. But with this young guy coming in, I think, Reed is on point with it. Now, I don't quite know who's like in the draft, like Shop does, because secondary is not really my forte. I kind of look at these guys, but I'm like Shop. We kind of did some scouting, and when we look at guys, like you said, it doesn't matter what school you went to, is your skill set. Can you cover this guy? Can you cover Tyreek Hill on Sunday? Well, nobody can do that. But how about now you get out there and get against, Devontae Adams and all these guys, D-Hop. Can you get in front of this guy and not be intimidated? Like you said, can you knock the ball down at high point? Can you get into him when you need to? Are you understanding like the spacing that you need, especially in the defense? And that's what it all boils down to. So the physical nature of what guys can play with, guys going to be able to run a 4-4-4-3. Okay, I need them thinking guys now. I need a guy to understand the space and where he's playing in relation to everybody else on the field, because that's key. So sometimes when you see kind of younger guys, they have to develop that speed of the game, but also too it's the speed of the mind, processing everything faster, right? Because everything is just different from college when you come to the NFL. And so now you're going to start running a little bit more combination, coverages, sometime maybe your technique where you didn't have to do somewhat. I always say this before, I always laugh at this because, when you're going against a guy who was, taking basket weaving on the other side, you don't know how to really study him. But when a guy's sitting over here making $30 million a year who needs to eat, you better do your homework. And you better be in there making sure that you got crossing all the T's and dotting all the I's when you're doing that. Now, with this whole getting all these draft picks, I've said, if it was my druthers, if I had it, I will go edge, D-line, and then everybody else could kind of fall in. I think we still need a linebacker, but we end up getting, like you said, my man from Carolina. So I think he'll fit well in what we do. So maybe we might be good in that area. But when I'm looking at kind of guys that could fit into this defense, and like you said, Spags and Shop, you played under Spags, didn't you, on his defense? So you kind of know what he's kind of geared toward. And when I'm seeing kind of defense guys, you got to have kind of versatile in some of the things that he wants you to do, right? And so when I'm looking kind of at the board, I'm looking at, Boye Mafe, Ebikte. I like Ebikte a lot. Karlaftis was at the Greek Freak. I like him a lot, man. I think you need some guys like high motor guys that's going to be able to get after him, right? It's like that. I think what I hated about Cincinnati's defense and the defensive line, they never gave up. They never quit. They was always coming. And you hate guys that's just always coming on the offense. You just know this guy like, God, like, is he getting up again? Yeah, he's getting up again. And he's going to keep coming. And you're going to have to bring your lunch pail and go ahead and buckle your chin strap, and it's going to be a full day. You just know that. And this guy's not going to quit. And so that's what I like about the Greek Freak. Another guy, when I watched him kind of in the Senior Bowl, just kind of going against guys and was watching a lot of his film, is Logan Hall from Houston. He's kind of a smaller tweener type of guy, kind of defensive end. He can play, the 3-4 if he wanted to. And so he's another guy that's high motor, gives a lot of energy to what you want to do. I think you need young guys that have that type of energy. And I think, at least for my estimation, people may have a different opinion, but I think sometimes we talked about the comfort. I think part of the comfort the defense had was, well, we know we had an offense on the other side that's going to be able to score at will. And so sometimes what ends up happening is the defense kind of sits back on its laurels, right? Oh, well, we're just going to get a little pressure here. No, we need everybody coming at full force each and every time. And I seen when we played against Cincinnati did that. Tennessee had guys like that. Buffalo Bills had guys like that. I mean, it was a rotation of young guys coming in that was hungry. And that's what you need. You need hungry, young guys that don't know enough to not be hungry, right? They don't know nothing else but 100 miles an hour. That's the guys that you want in that room. So sometimes when you make a whole lot of money, you put it in your back pocket, you'd be sitting back on it. Yeah, that wallet gets a little heavy. So you start sitting back on that wallet a little bit too much. You get a little bit too comfortable. So now, hey, we're going to throw these guys some raw red meat. Hey, go after it. Go get it. Just go. Just go. We just need for you to go. And so I think we're going to have that hopefully in the draft. coming up. But that's what I would go, man. I'm looking edge, defensive lineman, that tweener guy we needed to really kind of round out what we want to do. And I think the Spags have some new toys. Like I said, some new guys, some new dogs to take off the leashes to just say, let's just go and rotate guys in. That's going to help out and make the defense look, significantly better, especially with the addition, like I said, of Reed. And I hopefully we'll get, like I said, maybe Bradberry here. Gilmore, I'm good with him. I can't keep thinking the linebacker's name.
Carter.
Yes, and Carter here. So I think Veach has maneuvered himself in a way that puts him in the right place. I wasn't quite getting it before, man. I was like pulling my dreads out. I think I still got a few left, but I was like, man, what's going on? What we doing? Do I need to go have a conversation with somebody, knock on a couple of doors? Do I need to go sit in barbershop over and go, tell somebody, what's going on? Like JD's going crazy over here in Kentucky, man. We need to start doing something. So I think it's kind of what we're looking at a younger defense kind of coming in that's going to be able to bolster what we do right now with these guys that we brought in the free agency. So I think it's the direction he's going.
And like you said last year, I remember during the watching the draft when you and I were texting, talked about Buffalo Bills just going after edge rushers. I think they went after 2 in the first 3 rounds of the draft. And you and I were like, there you go. They're building their defense to go against us. And we were like, we need to be doing that. And so it looks like we'll probably be doing that this year. Hopefully we do that.
Yes.
We get the draft capital, 12 picks to be able to, if we obviously, hopefully maybe a Chiefs Concerns going to have a draft special and stream live, maybe during the draft and be able to guess who we got out, who's going to make what picks and stuff like that. Something like that would be exciting. But I do think with as much draft capital as Brett Veach has, he can definitely tier his big board. And when he gets down to having just about 3 or 4 guys he really likes, he'll be able to move up, 10 spots or 5 spots, get right on the cusp of that, and still get a high-quality guy he wants without taking a bunch of draft capital versus waiting until 29 and 30 and having to, just be lukewarm about some of the picks. Oh, man, take that 2nd-round pick and a 6th-round pick and move from 29 to 19 and get that 3rd pick the Eagles got. Move up and get one of those, 2nd picks that the Giants or the Jets got. Package some stuff out and get one of these day one. This defense, it's thin at the quarterback position, but at the wide receiver position, at the edge rusher position, at the defensive back position, man, it's full of it. It's deep. You can find some really, really good quality players always into the 3rd, 4th round if you're talking about those positions.
So, okay, what's the order? What's the draft order we're looking at right now? Who's got the top 5 picks? Is it Jacksonville? I know I should have it. I should have it here somewhere. But if, like you said, the only way that I was going to like who was moving up shop. So I said the only guy I would move up for defensively would be Hutchinson. That would be it, as far as defensive end wise. I mean, that's the guy I think is a, kind of a no-brainer, a no-miss guy.
He's going first. He's going first. You got it. You heard it here first. Jacksonville, they taking Hutchinson. No-brainer. That dude is twitchy. He got a 3-cone. He got a short shuttle. He jumps off all the metrics. Don't. It's a done deal for me. I ain't seen many cats like that.
You're right.
He cut from a different ball.
Yes. I said, unless the guy named Hutchinson, I ain't moving up at all. I think we'll wait for guys kind of fall on our lap. I think we're in a good position. So that's kind of where I am. And I think
that's how Mr. Trade is Jacksonville, Detroit, Houston, the Jets, the Giants.
Okay.
Then Carolina, the Giants again, Atlanta, then Seattle's taking Denver's pick, and then the Jets again.
Okay.
Would we trade up for Thibodeau if, let's say, the Giants said they're looking to move their 5 or 7 pick overall. So would you move up to get Thibodeau, the edge rusher from Oregon?
I like him. I do. I don't know. We move up for. I like him. I'll say that. I like him, but I think
JD, how much does it bother you when they asked him about not going to Alabama? And he was like, players that go to Alabama are only concerned about playing football. And that's why he didn't go to Alabama. Did that comment concern you?
Not at all. Not at all. Not one bit. That wasn't the one.
For a top 5 pick, and you concerned about other things. I mean, we about to make you an instant millionaire. So
right.
I don't know if I can have you focus on any. I mean, and the reality is that a lot of guys probably felt that exact way. Mm-hmm. The fact that you had the nerve to say it.
Yeah.
The fact that I mean, like, man, that might be your truth. Why are you saying it? Like, what do you, why are you saying it?
But it was like the same thing with what's his name, Trevor Lawrence, right? Yeah. Trevor Lawrence is like, hey man, look, I just want to go out and have what, baby? Hold on, we thinking about taking you first. Like, play it off if we want to, please. Just let us feel better about this, okay? So we're not thinking that you're gonna grow your hair all the way out to be in a band somewhere, right? Or you become a rock star, one day and say, hey, man, I'm done with this. No, we're gonna throw you a whole lot of money. Say the right things, right? We all know to go in, and I went in, man. If I could have, when I went in my my combine interviews, I would have went in with a 3-piece suit, with
business. This is all business. I'm ready to take care of business. Right. Whoever wants me, I'm here to take care of business.
Right. That's it, man. Now,
it would surprise me, though. I do believe there's some guys, some names jumping up the draft board a little bit quicker. Mm-hmm. Obviously, the quarterback from Liberty, Malik. Obviously, the safety from Notre Dame, Hamilton. And then any of those, like you're saying, it's 3 or 4 offensive tackles that, teams are always looking for that next offensive tackle. So there's a chance that Thibodeau actually, does still be around come pick 6 or 7 if people are concerned about that comment. I mean, I think the thing that scares me about him is if you look at him as being the next who's a young man from South Carolina that's a free agent?
Clowney.
Yeah, and that kind of
Clowney. Yeah.
I mean, there's so much talent, but you're always a little bit concerned about Clowney's like his desire, his effort, his how bad. I mean, once he got paid, how bad is he really wanting? Because it doesn't look like all those God-given abilities and traits are actually, being able to be transferred to the football field. So, if you get being compared to that guy, you get a little bit nervous about, these general managers picking the top 10, and none of them on a comfort seat. They all on the hot seat at this moment.
Right. Yeah. But like you said, there's a lot of names moving up. And so I think the Chiefs are, man, in a great position. They really are. Man, with just the multitude of picks, right, just gives you that flexibility, right? You know what I'm saying? So that's what I love about it. It's just, the flexibility you having, to make moves if you need to get the guys that you want. So.
And it's not, in the Brett Veach era, we've traded the first-round pick a few times. So, I mean, this is, it's kind of rare to have 2 first-round picks in the, this year and 2 in the second round. So it's going to be fun. First time in a while, it's going to be fun to watch the draft as a Chief fan. Okay, so final topic tonight before we get out of here. This week, the NFL voted to change the overtime rules. So now both teams will get a chance to get a possession in overtime in the postseason only, not regular season. Most Chief fans remember we proposed this a few years ago after we lost the AFC Championship game. I think only 2 other teams voted for that. But then we do it to the Buffalo Bills. Everyone gets it's an outcry, public outcry over this. And then I think 29 teams voted for it the other day. So just in general, what do you guys think of the rule change that both teams will be able to get the possession in overtime in the postseason?
I think, to be honest, making it for playoffs, I don't think, I'm not really bothered by it, to be honest with you. I think really it's fair. I think it's fair. The thing is, nobody was singing about this when the Chiefs, came up and it hurt them. Okay, fine. We'll play by your rules. Next thing, we hit you over the head with it. Wait a minute, hold on. That ain't fair. Whoa, wait a minute. Hold on. Y'all was the same guys that were sitting there telling, play by the rules. Everything. Look, man, I was hearing that from everywhere. But, you know, I'm not even on Facebook, and I was hearing people on Facebook. You know what I'm saying? That's how bad it was. I ain't even on Facebook. So that's the hypocrisy to me. Okay, it's playing with that. So it's like, wait a minute, okay, now we're gonna make it fair, because now all of a sudden you've seen how it worked out. You've seen guys who were getting the coin toss. I forget what they said. It was like 12 out of something, you know, that won the coin toss. It was somewhere like a high percentage that whoever got the coin toss was, you know, I guess primarily to win. So I'm not sure exactly the percentage. I know it was high. And so I think it's fair. I think you got to give teams a chance. I hate that where, you know, the team is doing well, they're cooking, you know, that you're just sitting back and you're just watching this wreck. And it's like, man, I can't do nothing about it. And you negate, you know, a team when you put like Patrick Mahomes or, you know, of course with Buffalo, you know, they put Josh Allen on the bench. And it's like, I want to be able to do something about it. I played such a great game, and now all of a sudden I can't be in the mix to you know, help with the outcome. So I think that's a good I think it's a good decision. But I'm kind of like Mike Tomlin. Mike Tomlin didn't like it because he didn't feel like it was consistent across the board. He's like, look, regular games, you're not doing it. So why is it all of a sudden it's just particular to playoff games? Why don't you just make it a rule across the board for everybody, which I agree with. Hey, man, just make it a rule. Make it a rule for everybody. Don't just do the playoffs particularly. Make it for – because the thing is, if you think about it, because it determines who goes to the playoffs, right? That's a win-win. So you got to make sure it's consistent across the board. So I agree with Mike on that, man. But I think it's a good rule. Fine. Everybody wants to play now. Now you're washing the hands of it. Everybody sees the light. I get it. You ain't seen the light. Cool. We'll play by the rules then. That's fine. I ain't got no problem with it.
John?
Yeah, I'm an old school guy. I mean, it's a lot of rules. I wish they would just wash away, just turn the clock back and let them play like it was in the 90s and stuff, man. A lot of overprotecting the quarterback. Listen, blindside block, receiver, crackback block, all that was legal when I played. So, you know, if you don't want to get hit that way, keep your head on the swivel. Like, it's a way. If you don't want your receivers to get hit, a defenseless receiver.
Yeah.
Ain't nobody step on that field and don't understand the ball is in height and it's time to go play. Ain't nobody defenseless. Okay?
Right.
If you running crossing routes, you supposed to stop against what? Zone coverage. You supposed to stop. And man, you run away. Right? Everybody knows the deal. And you decide to run through a zone. When you get to the other side of the zone, you get lit up.
Mm-hmm.
Ain't no. You want defenseless. You knew you was on the playing field.
Right.
So I mean, I'm back, man. Let's go back to football the way it used to be. I don't want to hear this stuff about the owners trying to protect us and save our bodies, because you can't extend the league by another game in hopes to extend it to now 18 games, and then talk about you're gonna take away kickoff returns and take away a couple of shots, low shots, and head shots, but you're gonna make me play 8 more quarters in a season. I got to play 2 more whole games. But you telling me you making it safer for me by increasing the chance of a touchback? Come on, man. That just don't even make common sense. So I mean, listen. The play overtime. Do what you want with it. I was cool with the way it was. Man, listen. It ain't supposed to be fair. It's a coin flip. Either you win or you lose. You still got a chance to go out there and battle. It ain't like you flip the coin and whoever win the game. Yeah, I can understand being salty about that. But, man, your defense had a chance to go out there and play. And if you too afraid to go blitz every down and they nickel and dime you all the way down the field and go score a touchdown, then that's your own fault. Yeah. Have some cojones. Let them hang a little bit. Call some pressures. Hey, man, listen, we ain't going – like, you going to either – I'm going 0. And I'm going to get the quarterback and get him, cause a big play, or you going downtown. And then I got somebody that can either make a play or knock it away. I ain't letting you dink dunk me 8 yard, score a touchdown, and then I don't never get to touch the ball. And my defense wore out from 65, 70 snaps on the game. No, man, I'm going out swinging. If I'm out there on the defense first, you getting 0. I'm coming after you. I'm going back to that Jim Johnson, 9 guys at the line of scrimmage. Right? I got B-Dog in the back. I got Bobby Taylor over here. I got 31 on the other side, and everybody else coming. That's the way I'm playing. And so, man, listen, they can have it. They can do whatever they want. I do agree, like what JD said. If you're gonna do it, it should be the whole season. You shouldn't force guys to have to change their mindset just for the playoffs. Like that's something different than any other game, right? Just keep it consistent. Whatever the rules are, let the rules be. Change them for the whole season. At the end of the year, if you don't like it, change it back. As long as we all know what the rules are when the season starts and play about them, I'm all for it.
So now you see, there's no question who the hype guy on defense was, right? There we see it with
Hey, let's bring the noise. Let's bring the noise. I don't care. Hey, man, go for it, coach. You go for it on fourth down. I don't care what part of the field. When it's defense time to roll, sudden change. Hey, Warfield, let's go, boy. Let's go. Hey, I hope he called a crazy blitz. Let's go. 0, crazy all day. Let's go. Let's bring it.
See, Sean got me going. I'm sitting there like, yeah. Let's go.
Worst case scenario, what they go up top, our offense get the ball back with some time. I am not playing no soft defense where you're gonna dictate what you're gonna do. You know, you get 5 yards here, 7 yards here, first down here. We on a 12-play drive. Like, what are we doing out here for 12 plays?
Yeah, you had a chance to defend them. Come on now. You had a chance to hit them in their mouth the whole time. So don't give me none of that. Well, we need a chance. You need a chance. You have one. Shoot, your defense out here. Getting their back beat in. Talk to them guys, right? Come on.
When they won the coin toss, did your defense go in the locker room? They did a 7-on-7 against Air or something? Like, well, how did they score? Was your defense out there? Yeah, okay, well, make a play. Just because you're too scared to run a blitz. Oh, they've been eating us up all day. Well, what you think gonna change now? Keep running that soft bread and butter defense.
In the Bills' case, they had 13 seconds to stop it from going to overtime. So,
oh man,
don't get me started on that number one ranked defense. Right. That number one, the coach coming in with the number one ranked defense. I'm like, man, do y'all know who they played against? All season long, they ate on bottom feeders the whole season long to keep them stats the way they were. Like, man, it's nothing about that defense that looked number one. They might have been like 5 to 6, but probably more likely like 9 or 10.
Yeah,
you really got down to it. But hey, man, everybody read those stats whatever way they need to feel good.
Yeah, exactly. The one thing you kind of mentioned, the Mike Tomlin, what he said that it should have been all year long. And I agree. I think it is kind of half-assed in a way where it's like, okay, let's say both teams score in overtime, and then it goes to sudden death. So really, let's say both teams score, they both get a chance, then it goes back to what it was originally. So I really don't feel like it changed enough. I mean, to kind of, figure out this whole balance of it. I think if they were going to change it, they should just change it flat out and go college rules or something that's going to avoid this whole sudden death aspect, which is what they're trying to go away from. So that's the part that doesn't make any sense to me.
Man, all it was is you're trying to – yeah.
Egos.
Right.
The NFL can't never copy what no other league doing. You copying the rules of the oh, no, we ain't copying them.
We ain't doing it
even if they really think that's the right way to do it, the egos won't let them do it.
Yeah. And so they just take into account on certain ones, like, hey, we got to play this like this way, and okay, yeah, we good with it. Come on, man. Like you said, now it goes to sudden death anyway. So what we doing? Sure.
But JD, we still trying to do player safety though.
Right.
We still keeping the game short for y'all because it's about keeping y'all. So you telling me in week 20 of the season, right? Deep in the playoffs. Now we're gonna play an extra 10 minutes of football because you think that this is right to do. Come on, man.
Right.
Hell, it just don't make sense.
I was gonna say, how about you propose bonuses if you had to go in the extra time? I guarantee the rules will change in.
Yeah, that we talk about.
Yeah, right. Yeah, that's it. We gonna give them extra money.
If you play an extra half of extra quarter, then you get a bonus. Whatever your game check is, you get another half of that.
There you go. That's right.
Just flip a coin. Whoever win. We ain't paying no extra money. These guys.
Jokers be like this when they. Well, we'll scratch that in.
Forget that rule.
Right.
These jokers want some more money.
Right.
Overtime is free. That's that volunteer work.
Right.
Oh. Yeah. Dominic Foxworth I was watching ESPN earlier. He suggested doing a shootout with the kickers. And he said, do that instead of we're talking about, because I think he was making a joke of player safety. We want to talk about player safety, and making the league fun. Let's resort to shootouts with the kickers. Get them off their butts actually doing something is what he kind of alluded to.
I don't know how JD feel about kickers, but I think this is a PG program, so you really don't want to know what I feel like about kickers. And but one I have Dustin Colquitt. That's the only one I like. Dustin Colquitt, the only kicker in my life I like. Yeah. And he was a punter. so this how many kickers I like. 0. I work my butt up all week for you to sit over there playing grab, you know what, on the sideline, playing bowling ball with the footballs all practice long. And then in the fourth quarter, we need you to make a kick, and you shank a 20-yarder or can't make a 30-yarder. Come on, man, do your job.
Yeah. I've been fortunate to play with some really great kickers, Shop. Morton Anderson, Gary Anderson, Chris Bonio. Yeah. So we have some good guys, man, some good kickers. You know what I mean? Some really, Lawrence Times. We got name LT.
Start with me and LT. I ain't start with LT. I love him like a brother. That's why I hate him.
Right.
Well, you told me that funny story with that it was that Raiders game where that Vermeil to kind of yelled at times to get off the field. Well, what was that story again? That was a good one.
Well, it was the one that he said he got mad at somebody. He said, "Man, that's all. It's your one job. Only kick the ball. All you have to do is kick the ball. That's it. You got one job only. Make the kick." And Coach Vermeil hated kickers. He could not stand kickers at all. And he let you know it too. He let them know it. So
shout out to Coach Vermeil, Hall of Famer, man. Hall of Famer, good bless.
It's
Congratulations, Coach.
All right, fellas. Well, that does it. That comes to the end of our show. Thanks for tuning in to Chief Concerns presented by BetOnline. Shawn, it was awesome having you on, filling in for Eric tonight. It was amazing, man. Love talking ball.
Appreciate it, my brother. Love you, man. Love you, Shop, my brother. Appreciate it.
Hey, man, we always know we are brothers keeper, man. Iron sharpens iron.
Yes, sir. Iron sharpens iron.
You carry that verse every day with all you do in the community and out here with these young men. So you just keep sharpening them blades and preparing. So whatever is the next page in our story, brother. We don't let nobody define us. We define through our Christ, our walk with Christ, and how we do it on an everyday basis. So man, you just keep on being blessed. Yes, Mr. Dash, you do your thing. Obviously, we share a past. We ain't got to let everybody know, but we got some mutual friends. From when you were growing up and stuff. So. Man, I just wish you all the best with all your endeavors. And hopefully we get all these listeners to subscribe, tweet, repost, talk about it with your friends at the cooler at work. It's Chiefs Concern, baby. Let's do it.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. I love you, Shot, man. Continue to be in the salt and the light, my brother. We all know that, man. We always know that. All right?
All right, fellas. Shawn, good to see you, buddy.
All right, man. Have a blessed night.